ぶっ飛ばしてやる。今のオラならそれができそうだ。
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. We're going to be trying out our first of the new 5 Super Dragon Ball Heroes units in the Universe Tree Power Super Saiyan Blue Goku. We did manage to pull 2 dupes in him. Of course, since we've only just pulled him, he is at level 1 links. We do have him on Tech UI's 200% lead, which I was really surprised of how many 200% leads Goku has. In total, he has about 4, 8, 12, 16, 17 200% leader skills. Now, 5 of them are crossover and Dragon Ball Heroes categories. But then he goes on 200% leads like Tech UIs, where we can benefit from his domain, which is huge. There's also Carnival LR Strength Super Saiyan Gohan. There's AGL SSJ 3 Goku. He has a ton, new Roshi being one of them, or the newer Strength Roshi. And what I love about this year's Heroes units are they're really not that restrictive. We have one conditional part of his passive, which we're going to trigger because we do have Trunks on the team, which is the Xeno category ally. For his orb changing in the additional, where he'll launch an additional attack, there's a 70% chance of becoming a super, randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to strength key spheres when there are 3 or more crossover category units, which naturally on a Heroes and crossover team you will always get because it's a full team, or an ally whose name includes Xeno on the team as well. Easy A Trunks isn't that good. However, he's going to be floating, and putting him on this team rather than a crossover team seemed a bit better. And I like the fact the Heroes units aren't that restricted. So we're going to slide him in slot 1. He's actually fairly linked up with Tech UI. Do we get any better links in the middle? No. Also, I love his aura. It's very big, but I love his aura. It looks very good. That's what she said. He is starting with a 223k attack stat, 188k defense. Because we did trigger his entrance animation, Goku does have 200% defense and a guaranteed additional for 4 turns. We're getting him a ton of key spheres, which means we are going to be getting ourselves an extra attack plus 50%, 70% chance to guard because we got 3 or more key spheres. And then because we got 5, we get an extra 100% attack and guaranteed guard. Now, I do believe the guaranteed guard will be a little bit inconsistent because it is type orb changing. 10.9 to start with. That's a 30% attack and defense raise on Super as well. And don't forget, on Super, he does have a 30% chance to crit built in. 11.5 he's up to as well. Again, all while having a 30% chance to crit on SA effect, which is nice. We're not getting one though. Up to 12.1. So we had the guaranteed additional from his entrance animation, the additional from his passive, and then potentially an additional from the dupe system. But those are some good numbers. He does some very good damage. For a Heroes unit, which a lot of people have pointed this out on Twitter, but this is always the way. For a Heroes unit, even though it is a premium summonable unit, for a Heroes unit which has less stats than Dokkan Fest LRs and kind of has similar stats to maybe side banner units, doing 10, 11, and 12 million attack stats, again, all with a chance to crit by 30%. Overall, that's some good damage. As I said, for a unit that typically has lower stats, that is some good damage. I can't knock that too much. And again, we got that guaranteed additional for 4 turns and that defense, which is huge. But he does start the turn with Ki +2, attack and defense plus 150, then gains an additional attack plus 150 when attacking. Does gain an additional defense plus 40% of each attack performed up to 200%. That's why those 2 built-in additionals, the guaranteed from the entrance animation, and then the one for having 3 or more crossover category allies or a Xeno category unit, are huge. So that means we've already built up, we've already done 3 attacks. They don't have to be super attacks, just attacks, which is nice. We've already done 3, which means we only have to do 2 more, which we're pretty much guaranteed to get because of the guaranteed additional we're going to get from the entrance animation for, what, 3 more turns? So we're already going to have that extra 200% defense on top of the entrance animation we're still rocking with. He then gains an additional attack plus 50% for the rest of the battle, and has a 70% chance to guard with 3 or more key spheres obtained, which more often than not we want to go for the 5. You know, having a chance to guard is better than none, but we want the guaranteed. just because of how hard content does hit nowadays. Then that 100% attack for the rest of battle and guaranteed guard as long as you get 5 key spheres or more, which I'm not gonna lie, we're getting fairly lucky with the orb placement right now and our orb changing. What do we get for putting him in slot 2? We get Kamehameha and shocking speed active, but Goku's about to die. So we're up to 490 on attack, 414 on defense, which considering he's need to build up even more defense after that, and he's also going to get more defense on super attack and multiples of it because of his additionals. His defense is in a solid spot. Again, for the caliber of unit he is, with heroes units typically having less stats, that's really nice. The only annoying thing is we were going to get 2 attacks off there, but because Goku was almost dead, we're now going to have his defense fully built up without the entrance animation. But of course, typically, more than likely, you will be able to get his entrance animation of that 200% defense for 4 turns, combined with the 200% defense he does end up building up. You'll probably end up having that combined together for about 2 turns. If you weren't unfortunate like I just was, in terms of Goku being pretty much dead, so we didn't get to attack 1 extra time. Do you want to dodge? I mean, he's off type advantage with guard, so it's not the end of the world. And then Blue Goku will gain an additional attack plus 150 for the rest of battle with 7 or more key spheres obtained, and then he'll gain an additional damage reduction of 40% when guard is activated. So overall, and I said this when we saw his details, he's a very, very good unit. And with Dokkan, with this being the last Heroes crossover campaign, making these, unfortunately, only 5, but the 5 Heroes units less restricted to being rang with Heroes and crossover category units. Don't get me wrong, there's a condition in there, but there's a bit of a lenient way of running him, which is the 1 Xeno unit. But with there being such leniency on these units this year, you can use Blue Goku, who's a very good unit, elsewhere, like Tech UI's 200% lead, like Carnival LR Strength Gohan's 200% lead. You can use them elsewhere, and they're not restricted to Heroes, which is a solid category, don't get me wrong. Like, Limit Breaker Vegito is still very good. This guy's good. The new units are good. Aside from, like, Warrior in Black, I mean, he's okay. But they only have so much of a lifespan. They only have so much of a shelf life compared to these other categories in the game, which are forever growing. Especially now that there's going to be no more crossover campaigns and just future EZAs that we have to wait a year for. Then you have older Heroes units naturally aging. Since there's hardly any restrictions, or very lenient restrictions this year, you can use them elsewhere. So this Blue Goku, who is looking very good, can be used on a team like this, where you're going to get more out of him, where you're going to get more use out of him, and where he's going to have a longer shelf life, which I'm a massive, massive fan of. Now, we do have his active skill ready, which I can't wait to use. We do need to super attack one more time, though. But we are going to pop Tech UI's domain, because then he can get the support of not only the super class buff, but then he's also going to get the extra attack and defense from being a Realm of Gods unit. And this is why I'm a big fan of the fact that this year, Dokkan decided to be really lenient with these Heroes units. Because then you can run them on these 200 leads, especially with the Universe Tree of Power, or however you want to name it. What was it officially called? Yeah, Universe Tree Power Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Having so many, it would be a shame if you couldn't run him on the rest of these categories. But the fact that he does get 40% damage reduction when your guard is active is very nice. It makes him, it tanks him out. And again, on a unit that has less stats than Dokkan Fest and LRs, and in the realms of like side banner units, maybe side EZAs, it helps bulk him out. Now, he can actually be in some sense ran in slot 1, but when you're talking like 2.7 million plus attack stats, probably best you put him in slot 2 so we can get that extra defense on super, then have the guard, then have the damage reduction. But we've got every single link active right now. Let's pop this active skill, because this is currently probably one of my favorite active skills in the entire game. Solid crit, not too much damage done, but on the active skill, he does massive raise attack temporarily, cause ultimate damage to the enemy, gains 30% defense, and all attacks become crits for 1 turn. So any other attack we do with Goku now is going to guaranteed crit, which is very nice. We also have the domain active on top of that. And we're going to get all of these key spheres here, which means we have guaranteed guard. We have him perfectly linked up as well because we have Xeno Trunks next to us. And after we've picked up some key spheres, 2.85 million. Don't forget, we do need to perform one more attack, which means he will have his full 200% defense. Again, it's a shame we couldn't get it combined with the entrance animation, but we have it combined with the active skill or the domain of Tech UI. So I guess we're not really missing out on too much. Is this mine or the friend's Tech UI? Because I don't want him to do too much damage with type advantage. It is mine. Okay, so this should be the last additional he does. Although I think there is an extra counter or two I see. Or I saw. How many are we looking at? 1. Okay, cool. Universe power or universe tree of power. Goku's still going to get to attack. 18 milli. Oh, I didn't know you had that in your bag. I wasn't familiar with your type of game. Come on, get another one. I mean, his defense is fully put up. I wanted another additional super. I wanted to get him to like 20. We do have some dodge on him. We have about 6 dodge. It's nice to know that works, but I can't lie. 18 milli. 18 milli under Tech UI's domain. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. And this is why I'm a massive fan of how Dokkan has handled these heroes units this year. Because now I can run him on categories like this and take advantage of the fact that we can have him on Tech UI's Goku's domain. And we can have him doing 18 million attack stats. He's not even level 10 links. He's not even rainbowed. Don't get me wrong, 2 dupes is very good. But he's still not at his best. And he's doing an 18 million attack stat. I saw a few people knock him, right? And don't get me wrong, I said this with the Easy A's and the same's going to apply here. Like, he's a very good unit. Naturally, he's going to have a ceiling. You know, it's the same every year. Heroes units have less stats than Dokkan Fest, LRs, etc. And they are quite low. But for Goku to still be able to put out numbers like that and have damage reduction, guard, even a chance to guard, if you do get unlucky with orb placement to not get his guaranteed guard, he can still do damage. He can still tank very well. He still has the potential to be able to be put in slot 1 if need be in some instances. Run him on a team like this. You can slide him in slot 2 where he'll be much better suited, be able to bulk himself out, get some extra defense while having his guard and damage reduction to help him survive some of the hardest enemies in the game. But he does have the potential to go in slot 1. He is good enough to be ran there, but maybe in some circumstances, you might want to put him in slot 2 so he gets the super attack first. This universe tree power Super Saiyan Blue Goku is very good. I'm not gonna lie, he's very, very good. I actually like him a lot. Especially with this being the final hero celebration, I had to get the units. You know, that they are a novelty anyway, but even more so now. But he's very good. I like him a lot. And again, the leniency helps a ton. He was very good under Tech UI Goku's 200% lead and domain especially. I can't wait to try him some more. Try him against some of the hardest enemies in the game. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.